We begin tonight at Camp David, where President Biden is making diplomatic history alongside the leaders of South Korea and Japan. A news conference just wrapped up a little while ago, and for the very first time, the president was pressed directly about his son, Hunter Biden, and the special counsel investigation. You heard the response there. That was it in full. No comments. No comment, no comment, no comment, no comment. That seems to be the theme here from the president and from the White House, Denise.
Yeah, you know, like you said, it is a theme. It's the thing we've heard from him the most as of late on some of the most pressing issues that Americans care about, from Hawaii to now this Hunter Biden investigation. It's interesting to see what a marked difference that is from his past assertions that his son was innocent and he had done nothing wrong.
Well, he's got a special prosecutor now. What would you expect the president to say? If he says anything other than that, and by the way, Hunter Biden's not a huge issue confronting America right now. It is for the GOP as a talking point. But what else would you have him say? There's a GOP special prosecutor selected by Donald Trump. They've withdrawn the tax charges. What we ought to be concerned about if you're a Democrat is why they're going to move the investigation of the jurisdiction to Washington, D.C., because they're investigating something that happened in Washington, which is why they're not going to be where they are now, and they're going to bring the investigation to Washington.
But I think it goes to show that, this is a problem clearly for the president, that he can't even talk about his own son.
It's just a question, and he gave the answer, and it's time to move on.
I'm sure you love
I don't think the White House wants the president to be in this situation. He literally can't say anything more than no comment at this point. I mean, I guess he could, but you know, for everyone's best interest, he can't say anything more than no comment. But I will say this. This press conference will now be dominated. This press conference with the leaders of South Korea and Japan will now be dominated by his son, Hunter.
But what about what Denise says? He used to expand upon this more, and now he doesn't. It's kind of like he's boxed in on this one now.
Absolutely, and that's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, he finds himself not being able to say more, and he can't.
Chris?
A massive miscalculation by Joe Biden over time in how to deal with his son, and we have to always preface it by talking about a father to his son and addiction, and those things are all true. Mm-hmm. But, what we now know, you're right, this gathering, this trilateral meeting is historic. It's a huge deal. Japan and South Korea, historic hatred, intense antipathy between these two cultures for a century. To bring them together is a big deal. What's he talking? What are we talking about? And what is the buzz around Joe Biden today? What does he say about the criminal investigation into his son? And this effulgently makes clear what the problem for Joe Biden was in the past about not being able to get Hunter Biden off the front page.
He was asked a question by the reporter, I believe from the Associated Press, then it was, oh, by the way, can you please comment? Because, by the way, it's been a full week that's gone, and he hasn't been asked. Chris mentioned, Denise, this trilateral meeting at Camp David, the president of the United States and the leaders of Japan and South Korea. It is a big deal as they try to come together and try to confront China.
This is a classic case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean, the cozier, sort of the new axis of evil, if you will, the Russia, North Korea, China alliance becomes, the more military practices are going, drills, I think they're calling them, are happening, to which the U.S., Japan, and South Korea are responding. And so Americans, I just saw a Pew report that said Americans have recognized China as the greatest threat to us in the future, foreign threat. And so we understand what's at stake, and I think that I think the other partners in that region are starting to notice as well. And one last thing I'd say is Kim Jong-un recently called it a neo-Cold War that was developing in that region, which I really think is a fitting label for what's starting to happen.
Well, thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.